Hey guys, Dr. Jamie Richards here at the Life by Design Center. Welcome to Life by Design Center TV. This is a new episode in which we're talking about the posterior chain. What does that mean? It means everything from your hamstrings to your glutes. It's going to affect everything from strength development to conditions like sciatica, leg pain, back pain, development of strength, improved metabolism, and really hitting the posterior chain in your movement patterns is vital to essentially life. And if you think about it, everything we do is in the posterior chain. So let me talk a bit about what I mean by the posterior chain, how that affects all the different systems in your body. Specifically, if you're dealing with sciatica or other different lower body conditions, this is going to benefit you. As well, if you're in and you're training, this is a key part of the training system here at the Fit Club and a key part of the Move by Design training program. So let me go ahead and hit some of the highlights here. And if you have any questions, just stick them in the feed here and I'll answer them as we get going. All right, so what's the posterior chain? The posterior chain is essentially everything behind you. That includes your glutes, your hamstrings, your back, all the way up to the top of the neck and the back of the head. That's your posterior chain. Your posterior chain is so important because it's what supports the body in an upright position. Now, what most of us do is we spend all day like this, leaned over, whether it be sitting at a desk. So if I'm sitting at a desk, my shoulders are falling forward, my head's going forward, I'm going to that anterior spinal distortion. We've talked about that on previous episodes. We've talked about using the posture guide on our website in order to determine if you have an anterior shift, looking for that structural problem. So the posterior chain goes all the way down, and of course, everything we do is basically in the opposite direction. So we're spending all day looking at our phones, we're spending all day looking at computers, and what's happening is the posterior chain is getting extremely weak. So our hamstrings are getting weaker. We're tilting the pelvis in an inappropriate way. And over long periods of time, you can actually create structural problems. You can cause deterioration. And one of the big things in the lower body is where that sciatic nerve actually exits through the pelvis. And so when the sciatic nerve exits through the pelvis, it can get put under pressure, tension, it can be irritated, and then obviously it can be a doozy. It can cause big problems for people in terms of pain, debilitation, how they're moving. But the bigger part is this. That might be one piece, and that might be one component of what we call collateral damage, but it's only one. There's probably many others. And if your posterior chain is weak, it's not just your sciatic nerve that's taking the brunt, but it's all the nerves that are exiting through the lower parts of the spine. And it's just a generalized weakness in the body. So you'll probably see this in a lot of adult males. So if this is you, don't feel bad about it. This is pretty normal. Now, it doesn't mean it's good. It's actually extremely bad. But you'll notice as men get older, it almost looks like they have no butt, right? Their glutes have weakened, all right? And so what's happened is they've weakened and everything caves in. The lumbar spine becomes flattened out, and the spine starts to become compressed, it starts to move improperly, and those muscles and tissues get even more irritated. The nerves get more irritated. It just repeats this cycle. It's why you see so many middle-aged men suffering from lower back pain. It's literally an epidemic, and a lot of that can be solved by better movement, strength, and of course, the caveat always is if there is a structural problem, then you can't massage your way out of that, you can't exercise your way out of that, you can't change your diet and change your sitting patterns and get out of that. All those things are important. You should do them all. But if you have a structural problem, you need to consult a professional. So that's me or my doctors. We can look at that and help you in that area. All that said, in addition to that, correcting your structural problem, we want to go ahead and develop the posterior chain. So I'm going to show you a couple things you can do right at home. And if you're not training here at the Fit Club, you don't have a barbell, then you can do it with dumbbells, you can do it with kettlebells. So one of the moves you can do is learning how to lift properly or do a deadlift properly. So I'm going to step away. There's a couple kettlebells out here in front of me. So when I grab the kettlebells, what I'm doing is I'm not hunching my spine over. I'm actually keeping my spine in a neutral position. We've talked before about the hip hinge. So hinging the hips. So you're pushing your butt back. And as I lower down, I'm lowering down to grab the kettlebells. So I'm going to hinge down, I'm going to grab the kettlebells. My spine is still flat, all right? It's not hunched, it's not rounded over. And I'm going to bend my knees enough to get them. I'm going to keep my chest up. I'm going to stand up with the kettlebells. Now I could do this with anything, and that would be a deadlift. So you don't necessarily need to have a barbell in order to, be able to add a bunch of weight to that. For most people, whether you're training here at the Fit Club Whether you're new and you're looking to just start to develop posterior chain strength, you could do this without kettlebells. You could probably do it without dumbbells. You could probably just do it with nothing, and that for many people would be enough. Now, as you start to develop, you can scale this. So one of the next pieces of the puzzle, you could do what's called a Romanian deadlift. Some people call it a straight leg deadlift. Technically, it's not a straight leg. There's still a slight knee bend to protect the knees, but I'll show you how that looks. And I'll go and do that one from the side. So if I turn the kettlebells to the side, I'm going to do the same thing. You can see how my spine's in neutral. I'm going to stand up. Now, what I'm going to do is instead of bending my knees, I'm going to shoot my hips back. I'm going to bend over as far as I can, and then stand up. As I bend over, you'll feel the stretch in the hamstrings, and I'll squeeze the glutes to the top. Now, for those people who are trying to develop glute strength, and I always see a lot of our female clientele who want to develop strength on the posterior chain, want to develop some musculature on the posterior chain. This is a great tool and exercise to do that. Crank out, 10, 15 reps in the beginning if you're a newbie, and then we'll scale weight and change the rep schemes as you become more skilled and develop in terms of going from foundation into function or one of the higher tiers. The last one I'll show you would be a more advanced version. So if you're at home, you're training on your own, you're doing well, you can do this with significant weight, you have good movement patterns, the health of your lower spine is good, then you could actually go to a one-legged kettlebell or dumbbell, or just a one-legged Romanian deadlift. So I'll show you what that looks like. Same thing, you're going to pick them up, chest up. I'm going to stabilize myself on one foot, and I'm going to lean forward, stand back up into the full upright position. Lean forward, full upright position. Now, the key with all of these guys is from the lateral view, as you come to the top, you want to squeeze your glutes forward. So you don't finish the lift here, you finish the lift here. Squeeze the glutes, finish, develop the posterior chain, protect yourself against all the things we talked about. If you have a structural problem, make sure you get that corrected. If you have any questions, leave them in the feed, I'll answer them. And look for more videos from Life by Design and Life by Design Center. I'm Dr. Jamie Richards. Make it a great day.